Geoff, so you have this like formula, right? Where you're like, you're keeping operating cash flow, you're keeping reserves, and then you have this automation set up between bank accounts so that you don't feel it. Do we want to kind of like share that part of what you got? Because to me, this is like truly genius, right? This is kind of like the long talks that Greg and I have when we're going running in the morning. And he's asking me, like, he's like pontificating on this idea of like, if people don't feel it coming out of their bank account, if they can just have it like automated in a way, then that would allow folks to stay a longer time, not feel that thing. I know like Wit and Richie do this, right? Like they have like different bank accounts for different things that do this, but we've never had somebody actually come on the show and break it down into a flow chart like you have it. You ready to talk about this?
Yeah, dive in.
All right, let's throw up your banking buckets
I,
managing cash
I
flow
think
chart.
I started to cry when I first saw this, Jeff. I just want you to know this is so beautiful. Take it away, but I just want you to know that I had a tear in my eye.
And I set this up not only with separate accounts, but at a separate financial institution. So it is
Mm.
fully segregated and separated. And part of it is, I think, maybe my philosophy that I feel like I have a social contract with the resident. They're paying money in, and there's a promise from them that they'll pay, and there's a promise for me that I will provide them a high quality, affordable, safe home without black mold or whatever else. Stay away from that whole reputation, I think, sometimes that landlords get tucked into as slumlords. And the psychology is really important by keeping it separate and running it as a business in my mind, rather than it being my money, it's the business's money. And so the rents come in, they hit that checking account, JWV sends that in, and I'll probably jump around the order here because that kind of the start of the flow versus the calendar month. So maybe I'll go calendar month. First of the month, the mortgages all pay out of that checking account. So they're all set up automatically. The banks just draw the money out of there. So I keep 1 month's worth of the mortgages in that as my target balance. So even if I got nothing off the portfolio, the automation's there, the rent, the mortgages all get paid. Then on the 5th of the month, I transfer and kind of reconcile in my finance world and transfer out the leftover cash to get back to that 1 month balance. On the 25th of the month, JWV puts in the rent less the expenses. And then that sets me up for the end of the month reconciliation, and it just runs kind of on autopilot throughout the year. I had 5-minute look at the account. I know what my mortgages are. I've got that number in my head, and I can just move everything else to get the balance there. So simple math. And then as that money market keeps building up, I've got decisions to make, and I look at that once a year on terms of, should I take some of that excess cash and pay down principal, maybe get a recast on the loan to increase cash flow, use it to buy another investment. And then the one that's in kind of a reddish orange color over there on the fund side, that's probably the worst use in my mind of that excess money, but it's an option.
Man, I wish I knew what reddish orange was that I should follow.
It's the top one.
Ah, there we go.
Greg is wildly colorblind.
Geoff, this is so critical. This is critical to client success, to rental property investor success, no matter if you're a client with JWB. It's one thing to make the right decision on the team. It's one thing to make the right decision on the market and the property. But once you own these assets, a very simple thing like setting aside a separate bank account and properly funding reserves will absolutely make your experience 10 times better. It will increase the chances that you are going to stay in this asset class for a full market cycle where we know you're going to win. Was this just an innate thing based on your background that you knew to do this? Did you have an experience, maybe not in this asset class, but in another asset class where you said, listen, I got to separate my personal bank account from my investment account and not intermingle them?
It started from being lazy. So I knew I was going to have to figure out my tax return. And so if it's all in a separate account, then the records are segregated. They're easy to find. I can go on the bank website and pull up, oh, here's what happened, right? And here's the mortgage payment. So it helped me from that perspective. And again, I wanted to be able to make sure that I didn't get emptied, maybe a way of looking at it, right? If the cash was sitting in my account, maybe it goes to, a new motorcycle or avionics for the aircraft or something like that. And then when other events have happened, I just had an HVAC repair at one of the properties we had to do. That comes up. It's real low stress for me because the JWB representative calls and says, we've got a $600 expense to repair this HVAC system. I just say, go fix it. And then I log into JWB's site and I fill out the little form and he sends you guys the $600. It's done. No need to worry about the cash flow. The reserve's there, and the tenant paid their rent all those years so that money would be there, so that there wouldn't be this, I'm not sure I can get to it today. And, you're trying to figure out how to move money around, sell stock or something like that. So you can meet the resident's need that you committed to when you rented them a home.
It's a beautiful thing. I think what you just mentioned there is that's a low stress situation for you. And that does not mean that we are happy that we need to spend money for maintenance. It just means that it is a low stress situation. It is a part of the deal. You mentioned a social contract with your resident. It's a part of the investment, right? For any investor out there, if you're thinking about investing in rental properties, ask yourself, how do I get to the place of describing when I need to send $1,000 to take care of a maintenance item? How do I get myself to the place where it's low stress, right? Ask yourself that question. This is Geoff's strategy, because if you can get there, you're still going to perform. You're still going to earn a great return on investment, but you're going to last. The return on investment is not the hard part in rental properties. It's getting you to last.